everyone. Welcome to another international workshop with Tyos. Today we have with us Miss Sawandi. Hello Sawandi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great.
Welcome to our workshop.
Thank you.
So, Sawandi is a student. She's studying environmental studies, and today she'll be talking about how it is important to be connected with nature and how we can connect with nature through plants. Right, Sawandi?
Yes, of course.
And her Instagram handle is Living with Nature. You can go and check it out. So, without further ado, Savandi, let's just get started. Over to you.
Right, thanks so much. So, hi everyone. I hope you guys are all having an amazing day. My name is Savandi, like Zahira said. But before I say anything about myself, I think I'll thank the Affordable Organic Store for having me here. It's the first time that I'm getting a platform like this. To share my work, to share my ideas, to talk about things I believe in, things I do, and it's huge for me. Um, and it's actually my very first live, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I am also really excited to talk to you guys. So I hope it balances out. But anyway, um, to tell you a little bit about me, I think Zahra said a lot, but uh, so first of all, I'm not an expert. I've watched some of the previous workshops that the Affordable Organic Store did, and the speakers you guys had were really knowledgeable, experts in their specific fields. I'm not like that. I'm actually still a student, a fourth year environmental studies student in York University, Canada. I'm doing my degree in Canada, but I was born in Canada as well. But I was raised in Sri Lanka, brought up in Sri Lanka, so I feel really Sri Lankan, although on paper I'm Canadian. Um, but yeah, the main reason why I'm here today is because of Living with Nature Sri Lanka, which is the Instagram platform that I started a few months ago from now. And why I started it was to reconnect people with nature, specifically Sri Lankan people. And why I wanted to do that was because, for a long time, I had been feeling, looking at people around me, looking at just Sri Lankan society in general, close friends, family, and me myself. I had been feeling like we are day by day gradually getting disconnected from nature. That gap
Yes,
between us,
absolutely.
yeah, the gap between us and nature is just widening. And being from, I'm assuming that a lot of you guys here are either from India, South Asia, Asia, close countries. And being from the global south, the developing world, I think you guys would can relate to this feeling. But a lot of forces from the developed world, like capitalism, are working to those forces just kind of like pull us developing countries out of our traditional roots, rooted in nature. Our traditional lives were always, connected, bound to nature. And these
Yeah, I
forces,
totally get you.
yeah, these forces just, kind of pull us out and really disconnect us from nature. And as a result, all of you might be feeling this, but we are caught in this, mindless spiral of consumption. Things are being thrown at us from all directions, the market, the media, and we are just stuck in a world of consumption, which wasn't always the case because traditionally, I know in Sri Lanka, people, whenever they needed something, they found the answer in nature. Whether it was food, medicine, religion, they just go outside and find it. But it's no longer like that. So living with nature is that's about it. with living with nature, I wanted to get people back to their gardens, back to listening to bird sounds and having that, having that connection with nature. That's why I started it. Um,
Absolutely, that's a wonderful like subject that you've mentioned. Urbanization and modernization has taken us really far away from nature and from our traditions and roots, and we are more towards technology, and we are ignoring the mother nature.
exactly. Um, so why I'm here today is to my main topic, I guess, is to talk to you guys about connecting with nature through plants. But before I go there, I'll give you an idea of what connecting with nature really means. So when I say connecting with nature, you might think that's a simple term, and you might think, why do I need to explain it to you? It's pretty self-explanatory. But that's not really how it is, because I think most of us aren't really uh, we don't really know what it means to connect with nature. Um, so what I think it means is, now generally, very often in oh, by the way, I need to mention. So a lot of you here might already be connected to, involved in nature in some way. Gardening, taking climate action, growing vegetables, fruits. But even that doesn't necessarily mean you're connected with nature, because most of the time, we look at nature as something that's just, far out there. It's distant. It's separate. We always look at it with that gap, you know. Uh, so it's distant. It's something vulnerable that we need to protect. But connecting with nature is about, moving, shifting from this kind of view to thinking of nature as something that's closer to you, as something that's, like a friend, like something that's almost part of you, that's you, because that's what it is. um, and I've heard people from some indigenous communities say that they don't really have a specific word for nature or land. They don't have those kinds of words, because for them, nature and land is life itself. It's them, so they don't really have that separation, and that's what it is.
Wow,
So
that's wonderful to hear. I didn't know that.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
exactly. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
um, so that's what connecting with nature means, and there are so many ways that you can connect with nature. And it's not linear, it's not straightforward. There's no one way that, you have to do it this way. No, you can do it in your own way, and it's something that you do. It's something you do constantly, daily, every moment. It's just there always. It can be, when you eat, you can be connected to nature. With what you drink, when you sleep, when you go to work, when you travel. So I'll give you an example. Um, so when you travel, if you're connected to nature, if you understand nature, if you're sensitive to nature's needs, you would be choosing. Say you have to go to the store, right? You have to go to a store that's not so far from home, and you would usually, take the car because it's easy. But if you're connected to nature, you instinctively know that you can walk instead. Walking might be more supportive to nature, so you can be connected to nature all the time, in everything that you do. Um, so why is it important to connect with nature? Why do we have to make all this effort? Why do we need to do it, right? um, I have to mention one thing. Connecting with nature, like when I say connecting with nature, it sounds like it takes effort. Even like there's this term, taking action. People often use it these days, with regards to climate change, taking climate action, reducing, reusing, recycling, sustainable living. All these things, they kind of like, when you hear them, it feels like it's really hard to do those things. It looks like it feels like it takes a lot of effort. But what I
Yeah,
wanted
that's
to say,
like an additional activity along with the other things that we do. It
yeah.
feels like that. It's not a part of our life anymore, and we need to take out time and put in special effort to do those things.
Yeah, but if you connect with nature, if you have that connection with nature, if you feel like it's part of you, if you think of it like a friend, you wouldn't really be, thinking of taking action the same way again. It'll come it'll come effortlessly, it'll come naturally, you don't even have to, think of it as caring for nature, because it's part of you, and naturally you will be caring for it. So that's one main reason. Yeah, that's one main reason why it's nice to connect with nature, rather than thinking of it just as nature. um, and so another really important thing is that by by creating this gap between us and nature, we also, I feel like a lot of problems in the world today, if it's human health issues, natural disasters, climate change, a lot of that is, we create a lot of that by creating this separation between us and nature, a separation that never existed. You try to separate us and nature, and you end up creating all these problems. um,
Yes.
so Yeah, so I feel like connecting with nature, if you, like I said before, understanding nature, you'll be naturally uh, caring for nature if you did that. So,
And
I
in
mean,
return, what nature gives us, it has a lot of psychological positive effects on our life.
mhm, exactly. Uh, I'll get to
Nature
that
has
a little later. Yeah,
impact.
I'll go into that a little later. The psychological effects. I want to talk
Okay,
about it.
okay.
Talk about that too. Um, but yeah, like I was saying, I feel like a, connecting with nature can be a solution to a lot of these problems we currently have in the world. But having said that, you don't, when you think connecting with nature, you shouldn't think that it's something that will only help nature, because that's not true. Connecting with nature, like Zehra was saying just now, will actually really help you. As an individual, it will help you grow as a person, because from experience, I know that when you connect with nature, when you get more in touch with nature, as a result of that, you also get more in touch with your own self. um, you start, getting in tune with your own needs. And when you know nature, you're also able to know yourself and give yourself what it needs, right? Instead of, like I said before, instead of just, consuming whatever comes at you, when you know nature, when you know yourself, you're, as a result, you're also able to give yourself what you really need and what's good for you. So it helps nature, it helps you, it helps society. So that's why it's important to connect with nature. um, so now I think I'll move on to connecting with nature through plants. Like I said, it's not just through plants. Sometimes it's easy for us to, look at plants, look at remote places, the mountains, trees, and think, oh, to connect with nature, we need plants. We need, to go to a place with a lot of mountains. But that's not how it works. Like I said, you can connect with it every time, all the time, every day. But for this workshop, I think I'll focus on connecting with nature through plants specifically. Um, so I think plants are a great way to connect with nature. And as to start off, for someone that's starting off, it will be really easy for you to start off with plants, because plants are something we naturally directly associate with nature. So it'll be easy, and it's a great way to connect, to use to connect with nature. Um, so how do you connect with nature through plants? Now, like I said before, I think a lot of you here might be already involved in nature, gardening, doing all these kinds of stuff. But just planting something doesn't mean you're connected to nature, and it doesn't mean you're connected to the plant. Sometimes we often we just go plant something, hope it grows, and then come back. Sometimes it doesn't grow, sometimes it grows. That's all planting. For most of us, that's what it means. But if you connect with the plant, it's different. Because a plant, growing a plant doesn't just mean digging some soil, putting the plant in it, watering the plant. It's much more than that. There's a whole process, and you need to get to know the plant. That's when you really connect with the plant. So I
Yes,
like to
absolutely.
Mhm.
Plants even understand feelings, and they understand our emotions. And when we are personally connected with them, uh, we see good results in plants. Like they bloom better when you are connected with them, spiritually
That's
or emotionally.
That's exactly what I'm going to say. And like from experience, I know that happens. So that's basically what I'm going to be telling you. Um, but anyway, I like to think of growing a plant as like bringing up a kid, or caring for a pet, or caring for your own self, because that really kind of instantly deepens the connection you have with you, and the connection between you and the plant, when you think of it like that. And I think that's how you need to think of it. you know so one of my first tips, I guess, would be um, to think of, to really build a connection with the plant, to think intuitively, to get to know the plant intuitively, to be sensitive towards the plant's needs. Check in on it often, see if it's doing well, see if it's not doing well. If it's not doing well, see why it's not doing well. And just like take less of a mechanical approach towards it, and more of an intuitive approach. um, Look at, try to connect with the plant with all your senses. Touch it, see what it smells like, look at it, and build that connect, get to know the plant well. I think a lot of us don't really do that. But I think building this connection will be really good for the plant, for its growth, as well as for you. So just try it out. Uh, the next thing I wanted to say, I guess, would be, generally when we grow something, we are focused on just one aspect of it. Like, say we are just thinking, okay, I'll grow this plant, it'll, I can have it as a vegetable for my lunch. I'll grow this, it can be a pest controller in my garden. And just, and we are focused on just that one benefit it has to us. But it's, there's so much more to one plant than just that one benefit. So think of a plant as a whole when you plant it. Think of, um, think when you plant it, think, what does this plant mean to my health? What does it mean to my body? What does it mean with medicine, with food? What does, how does that connect to this plant? Think of all the different, think of it in different angles, in different aspects. um, Look at the plant as a whole. Also, you can think, what kind of birds come to this plant, what kinds of pests, what kinds of butterflies come to this plant, how is pollination like with this plant, where does this plant like to grow. Think of all of that. And if you start thinking about plants in this sort of, integrated, with an integrated approach like this, I think you'll soon figure out that you can just go into your garden and find basically everything you need in the garden. I can give you a small example for that. So my parents are both really into gardening. um, and my mother sometimes I'm sometimes her practical knowledge about different plants, and how she's able to connect um, different different things about different plants really like intersectionally and apply it everywhere just amazes me. So recently we were having some elderly relatives over to dinner, and me and my mom, we were thinking of what drink to give these people, like the welcome drink. And my mom, yeah, we were thinking of, no, my mom suggested this plant called amberella that we have in our gardens here. I'm not sure what, if it grows in India, if it, what it's called. But like I found two fruits here. I hope you can see it. But
Okay.
my mom was suggesting these fruits, to make the drink from that. And she was saying, um, usually when we make all these fruit drinks, we need to add so much sugar for it to be tasty, right? But she was saying, no, but with this fruit, it's also like, it also helps diabetes. So that will cancel out. So it won't be bad. It'll be good for the elderly people we are having at home. It won't be a problem. It'll cut off. It'll cancel out the sugar. So it really like amazed me, and I was like, wow, how do you know all this? But that's how it is. And I don't think people in my generation really have this kind of integrated knowledge. They don't really know how to. I mean, even me, I'm just learning. They don't really know this practical knowledge of nature and how to apply things everywhere. But that's why it's important to get to know your plants. Um, get to know a plant. Step out of the conventional use for plants. If you do, you get what I mean? Like, every plant has a conventional use for it. Like, for example, like carrot for food, so something like that. And I have another example for you for that. We have soursop. Do you know that plant? um, it's a fruit that it's a plant that grows in Sri Lanka. It probably grows in India as well. I'm not sure, but that plant is generally the conventional use is for the fruit. The fruit is like people eat the fruit, people make drinks out of it. Um, but and we have that plant in our garden. It's right at the back, so I'm not able to show you the plant. But I got some leaves from the plant. I have them here. So I was interested in getting to know more about this plant, more than the conventional use, more than the fruit. And I found out that by boiling the leaves of this plant and drinking the water, um, it can be a really good treatment for cancer. It's really like a very effective treatment for cancer, sometimes much more than treatment, the therapy you get in hospitals.
Oh,
um,
okay.
so yeah, these leaves are precious. They're medicinal,
So,
healing.
how do you use it? Can you just repeat again?
Sorry.
How do you use these leaves?
Yeah, you just boil them in water and then drink that water.
So, what does it taste like?
It just tastes like herbal tea. It's not a bad taste. It's really soothing.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Mhm. Yeah. So, what I'm trying to get to you is to, don't just get out of that stereotypical kind of use um, of different plants and think about it as a whole. Go and think of more. Go and find out more about the plant. Find out everything, and then, like I said before, you will find that you will have everything you need right in your garden. Yeah, so okay, one more example. Am I running out of time? No, I guess. So I was also going to tell you about olives. Do you know olives? Do you have it in
Yes.
India? Okay. We call it veralu here, and the conventional use for it is as a fruit. People make pickle out of it. Some people make drinks. But I wanted to get to know more about the plant, and I just did some research and found out that traditionally the leaves of that plant were they used to, women mostly used to grind it and use the paste on their hair for like shinier hair.
Oh, wow.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah, we use olive oil, so it's like the same using the
it's
leaf.
kind of the same, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I mean. I
Because
mean, you can
oil
find all.
process, this is a natural way, like pure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a really good thing that you mentioned.
Yeah, so I mean, I can give you so many examples like that, but every plant has all these. Every plant, if you look into it, you know, it's just fascinating thing. There's so much about each plant. So find it out, and you'll find that, you'll get everything you need for food, medicine, beauty, everything right out there. Um, yeah, so that's about connecting with nature through plants. And now I
Can
thought
I
of
take
yeah,
a few questions if it's okay? Sorry for interrupting you.
yeah, sure.
Okay, so we have a question. Do you plant any specific category of plants?
Any specific category of plants? Not really. I Not really. I find out different things about plants, different uses, and if they apply to me, if I find that they'll be useful for me in some way, I go and plant it. So, yeah. For example, I recently saw somewhere that the plant called gardenia. It's generally people plant it for its flower, I guess. When I found out that it's good for sleep. It gives you better sleep if you have it indoors. And I have some days when I don't really, I sleep for 8 hours and I'm still tired. So I think everyone can relate to that. But so because of that, I actually have it here. This plant, I think the light is on it, but then this is the plant.
Oh, yeah.
I know you can't see it well, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no, we
that's
can
the
see it.
plant. Yeah. And I have it in my room now. It's something I grew, and yeah, I like to have it in my bedroom now. It's like a friend. But
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So, what kind of plants you have in your garden? Are they flowering plants or fruit plants? What do you grow
mm,
mostly? What do you like to grow mostly?
um, what do I like to? Yeah, so like I said, I don't have a preference. Um, Sometimes I grow fruit plants, sometimes I go grow medicinal, sometimes flowering. It depends on my mood, I guess. I don't have a
Okay.
preference. It
Okay, okay.
depends on what I need at some particular time. Mm.
Uh-huh. So yeah, there's one more question. They want to know, how did you get into gardening?
Okay, I was actually going to talk to you about it.
Okay,
Um,
great.
okay, not gonna lie, I didn't like gardening. Wasn't like Gardening was definitely not something I loved from my childhood. No story. In my When I was a child, I just liked reading books and watching TV. Gardening was very recent. It was actually it. I actually got into it during COVID time um, because I was at home in Sri Lanka, and we had a long, long, long lockdown, and there was nothing really exciting happening. So there was a point when, you know, I had to find things to excite me, entertain me in at my own house. So that was when I, started trying out things. I started with marigolds, which I've talked about before on my Instagram and stuff. I started with marigolds, and it worked out really well. Beautiful flowers, stayed for a long time. and that kind of got me into more planting.
Easy maintenance plant.
Sorry?
It's an easy maintenance plant, like it's a hard to
Exactly.
kill plant.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Tell us, Savanti, like, from where do you get plants? Like, is there a
Um,
nursery, or do you grow from seeds? What do you do?
where do I get plants? So with COVID, that's actually, like I said, that's when I started it. I mean, after COVID, I wasn't able to like go out and, go to nurseries and get stuff. So it was usually I just tried out, cuttings from a plant we already had at home. Or with marigolds, it's actually those seeds. One of my mom's office friends gave it to us, and that's how I planted. So we get it from people, we get it from our like stuff we already have in the garden. We sometimes get it from like vegetables we buy. So, for example, I have it right here. I planted onions just yesterday, and yeah, see, that's
Oh wow,
those
that's
are-
growth in one day. Lovely.
yeah. No, I mean these stems were kind of already there.
Okay, okay,
Not so tall. They've definitely grown a little bit in one day. They were kind of still there, but like yeah, I think I see the growth too.
okay.
But anyway, like for those, it was onions we got from the store. We didn't use them for food. We just saved some of those bulbs up for planting, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Mm.
So, there's one more question from Shivam. He's asking, do
Mhm.
people have big gardens in Sri Lanka, or they have just balcony gardens?
I think uh, most of them have um, big gardens. Um, yeah, around where I live, people, it's definitely bigger than balcony gardens. Balcony gardens are more common, I guess, towards the capital city like Colombo, and the urbanized areas of the country. It's more common,
Okay.
but like if you take it as a whole, I think more people have big gardens.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's lovely.
Hmm.
So, how is like you have big houses, you have spaces. Like in India, we are mostly living in apartments and we don't have much space for gardening. Like everybody will not have a lot of space. So mostly people go for balcony gardens or on their windowsills. That is the only area that people, the common people, only very few people have a very good space for gardening. So is it the same in Sri Lanka?
I think that's definitely like as we move on, that's definitely something we'll be expecting because like the country is getting more populated. Obviously, like less space for new houses. That's something with newer houses, I guess. But most people they kind of live in their ancestral homes, like where their parents lived, and those houses generally have a lot of land.
Yeah.
So like my where I live, it's my we still live in my grandparents' house, so we still have
Wow.
a lot of land. Yeah, I think
Oh,
that's the case
amazing.
for most people. Yeah, but moving on, I think we'll also be seeing a lot of balcony gardens.
Yes, yes. And anything else that you wanted to share with us, Avandi? Tell us a little about the plants you have behind you.
Okay, behind me, I don't, okay, to be honest with you guys, I don't know what each and every one of these plants are. Like, I don't know specifically because some of them are just decorative plants, ferns and stuff that my mom already had there. But
Okay.
I have, wait, I already talked to you about gardenia. I talked to you about onions. Okay, I have one more plant. Uh, do you see that plant there in the corner? This
Yes.
tall one. Okay, that's actually a cinnamon plant. Um, do you guys have cinnamon in India?
Yes.
Hmm. So cinnamon is like one of the it.
That's the most commonly used spice in Hyderabad, especially.
That's nice. I didn't know that. So for us, it's not a commonly used spice, but then it's not like an everyday spice. We do use it sometimes, but it's not super popular as a spice. We have cinnamon tea, but why it's popular is as an export. It's one of our main export crops, and I think a few years back, I think Sri Lanka was the highest cinnamon exporter in the world. Now it's kind of changed around,
Wow.
but we still produce a lot of cinnamon as exports.
Uh-huh.
Um, so yeah, that's one thing I wanted to share. I also have. Do you use curry leaves in India?
Yes,
Okay. Is it a common spice?
very, very common.
Okay, so curry leaves is much more common than cinnamon. It's like an almost every meal we use curry leaves. I have a
Same
plant
with
here.
us. Yeah, when we
Hmm?
same with our dishes. When we make the
Yeah,
tarka, it doesn't go without the curry leaves,
exactly.
the
So
seasoning.
this, I don't think I need to show you the plant then, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, this
That's
is
like
a curry
the
leaf plant.
most common plant found in every kitchen garden.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And it's this plant I think is so versatile because it's not just as a spice, it's also medicinal. So for example, people with it's good for cholesterol, and it has so many other like I've heard that it also cancels out like toxins in food. So yeah, so it's so much that this plant can do.
yeah.
Uh, yeah,
And
so
we
that's
use it as a hair tonic also.
sorry.
We use curry leaves as for hair also when we are making
Yeah, I
hair
think yeah,
tonics.
I've heard that too, and I think I've tried that once.
Yeah,
So
I have
yeah,
also
that
tried it and
plant.
it works amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that plant is like so much. It's everything. Has everything.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. So I think I wanted to also because Ishika was telling me to share some stuff about like gardening and specific. Do I still have time? I have time, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. um, Ishika was telling me to talk about like specific methods we use here in gardening,
Yeah,
um, stuff like that. So I don't really use specific methods. It's I just like try out stuff, experiment with stuff. Sometimes my parents help me, but mostly it's like me trying out stuff, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But like I don't know. I think I learn a lot just from the process. Like I started, and as it goes, I learn the plant, and depending on the plant, how it works out, I learn a lot. But like, I will share some of the more general things I do. So, for example, for setting up the soil for the plant, we compost. We compost our food in our backyard, and we use a lot of
wow.
that. Yeah. Do you do that too?
Some people do, like
Right.
those who have plants, they also make
Mm-hmm.
compost.
Yeah, that's a great way. I mean, like if you use compost soil, it does a lot of work that like a fertilizer would do. Um, so yeah, I use a lot of these compost soil for when I'm planting. For majority of the plant, I use compost soil, the dark, rich humus soil, and then like just put some um, sand on top. But like roots part, I generally use a lot of compost, and that really helps the plant grow. Um, and I mean, I think these are all really general things, but so for bigger plants that grow big, like the gardenia, for example, um, before I try to like transfer it to the ground, I plant it in a container just so that it's most growing like the growth of the plant will be more successful on the ground if you first plant it in a container. Uh, you might be doing
Okay.
that too. Yeah,
Yeah,
and like yeah, when I see that plant growing, when I see signs of growth, I transfer it to the ground. Um, Also for fertilizer, um, we use a lot of like natural things. Like I said, if you use compost, sometimes it's not really necessary, but like we use eggshells, we use rice water, we use what else? Banana peels. It depends on the plant too. So, for example, eggshells wouldn't work with every plant. It really depends on the plant and its chemistry. So, you need to get to know the plant
Yeah.
to use different kinds of fertilizer. And then pest control is huge because we have a lots of pests, lot of pests in our garden, snails, tons of them. Who else? Caterpillars. Might be something common there as well. But yeah,
Yes,
we
of course.
try to use a lot of like homemade stuff um,
Okay.
for our pest control. Like, for example, soapy water, ashes from the fireplace. So you can just sprinkle ashes over the plant, and that keeps snails away. I think it also helps with caterpillars. Um,
Okay.
and then there's pest controlling plants, for like marigolds is known widely as a pest controller plant. So for
Oh,
example, like if you grow it, it might keep pests away from plants around it. Um,
okay.
so there's also those kinds of plants you use. I mean, it's not
It's a
always
pest
100%.
repellent, you mean to say?
Sorry?
It's a pest repellent?
Pest repellent plants, yeah. It's
Okay.
not always like 100% successful, um, but yeah, you can try it out, but definitely um, try not to use insecticides. We don't use any. Yeah, we try to reduce our use of insecticides at home because it will reduce the nutrition in your food. I mean, if you're growing vegetables, fruits, it will kind of affect the nutrition in the plant. Plus it'll also affect non-target species like butterflies, um, sometimes birds. So try to reduce insecticides as much as possible. um, what else? Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that I had for you guys.
Okay, amazing. I'll
Mhm.
be, can I ask you a few questions we'll take?
Yeah,
Okay, so, like, we want to know, what are the commonly grown plants in Sri Lanka? Like,
coconut,
oh,
uh, almost in every garden.
oh, all right.
Um, mhm.
Uh-huh.
um, what else? Mango is common.
Okay. So,
Um,
like, everybody likes to grow them, and it's easily grown in your climate and at home.
yeah, those
This
are
plant
very easily grown in our
within
climate.
city.
And people like to grow them, but maybe not everyone has the space to grow them, like mangoes and stuff, but they're pretty common.
Hmm.
What else? We have um, bananas, that's common.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah,
we have
just
a.
like Kerala. In Kerala, we
Mhm.
have bananas and coconuts common.
Mm, yeah,
That that's close to
yeah.
Sri Lanka, so I think
Close
it's
to Sri
accepted
Lanka, yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
Um,
favors the growth of these plants.
mhm. What else do we have? We have papaya, pepper,
Okay.
that's common.
Uh-huh.
Um, do you have rambutan? These are all fruits. Maybe you don't call it the same name.
No, no,
Okay.
we call it the same, but it's
You
not
call it
very
the
common. Like, not a plant that you find in every home.
same. That's kind of common here. For flowering plants, we have bougainvillea. That's what it's called here.
Yeah, it's called
Um,
the same at our
okay,
place.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so that's common.
Your
We have,
favorite plant from your garden.
sorry,
Can you name your favorite plant from your garden?
my
Like
favorite plant from
Ramakrishna.
my Sorry, I didn't hear that.
We have this question from Akansha. She wants to know which is your favorite plant
My favorite plant from our garden.
from
What's my
your
favorite?
garden.
From my garden. From my
Yes.
garden. Oh my God. Give me a
Garden
second.
all must be favorite.
Hmm?
It must be very hard to like choose one.
It is. It is like for me, it's really hard to choose things on the spot anyway.
Uh-huh.
But I'm taking a lot of time for this.
It's
What's
okay.
my
It's okay. Like
favorite
plant
plant?
lovers love all their plants. They don't have one specific preference.
Exactly. When I grow something, I generally like I really love the plant anyway. When it's growing specifically, like every morning, just
Hmm.
after I've woken up, I go right there and see how much it's grown over the night. Um, what plants do I like?
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Samani. Let us take one more
You know,
question.
I'll probably like after this workshop's done, I'll come up with something and I'll be like, oh no, I should have mentioned this. It's so hard for me to come up with
Yeah, it's
something on
okay.
this.
No problem.
Yeah.
So, do you like people grow succulents there?
Succulents. Remind me what succulents is again. I forgot what it means.
Cactus?
Oh yeah. Oh my God, that's so common.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's really common. My mom recently got me some cacti for my bedroom.
Uh-huh.
Uh, yeah, it's common as like a decorative plant.
Okay.
Yeah, people love them. Like plant lovers really like them.
Okay. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That was wonderful to hear all that from you. Different things about Sri Lanka. A lot of things are common with India, and you
Yeah,
have similarity with Kerala due to the
exactly.
uh, zone. I think you are in the same zone with Kerala, so
Mhm.
plants there and the plants in our place are similar.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, where are you from? And
We are we are from Hyderabad. We're based in Hyderabad.
right, okay, that's more toward the north of India.
No, not exactly north, but we're not too south. Also,
Right.
we are kind
I've
of in
been
the
to
middle.
Chennai, but I hope to visit other places as well.
Uh huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Hyderabad is all about spices. A city of
Mm-hmm.
spices. We have a variety of dishes,
Mm-hmm.
and we are very fond of eating.
Same.
You must have
we
heard of.
love we love Indian food here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay, so Savandi, it was lovely talking to you. So, if you have to sum up your workshop in few words, if you want to give a message to the people watching us today, what would that be?
Yeah, I would. I think I would tell you guys to. It's my workshop was basically about building that connection with nature. So go out today. Start from today. Try to open up to nature. Try to understand nature. Get to know it deeply. Think of nature as a friend, not as something just far out, distant, but as a friend, something close to you, something that's part of you. It'll be so much better for nature, for our planet, and it'll be a lot. It'll be amazing for you. It'll change your life. So that's basically my message. It'll change up a lot of things for you. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. That was a very beautiful message. So, it was amazing having you here today with us, and it was lovely hearing about your planting journey, how you started, and what your idea of connecting with nature is.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thank you.
thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank
And
you so much for having me.
most
Thanks
welcome.
everyone for joining. Thanks for the questions. I loved talking with you guys, answering the questions. It was great.
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us today. And if you have any questions, if you want to ask, like connect to Savanthi, you can go out and check her Instagram handle, Living with Nature. We have put it in the description box below, and you can definitely connect with her. And she has a beautiful page. You can check it out, and you will love it definitely.
Yeah, I was going to tell you guys, please do connect with me. I love it when people interact with me. I would love to talk to you guys. So, yeah, please connect with me
Sure,
if you
sure.
like to.
Thank you so much, Savanthi.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.